Yo, you tuned in to Guerilla Cross Radio.
Yo, what's up? Welcome to Guerilla Cross Radio. This is the unnamed sports show. We don't have a name for it yet, but that's actually the name right now. So, this is our unnamed sports show right here on Guerilla Cross Radio. I'm your host, Quan59. Got my man Steve in the building. We don't have a nickname for you. Your first show, co-hosting with me. We'll come up with a nickname by the end of the show.
All right, no problem.
And I'm going to test your sports knowledge, too.
Okay.
We're not on Facebook Live right now. It's tripping, but we are on YouTube Live. If you go to youtube.com/GuerrillaCross, you can watch us. So make sure you check that out right now. If you're listening live, if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on all social media at Guerilla Cross. And my boy Mark Jones is about to get on the line with us as well, all the way from Dallas, Texas, to talk sports with us. And we have a lot to talk about. There's a lot happening in the NBA, especially with free agency going on right now, the trade deadline. I mean, not the trade deadline, free agency opening up, and then a lot of trades happening as well with Paul George, Chris Paul. We're going to talk about all that, and we're going to get your opinions. Do you think Manny Pacquiao got robbed in this fight against Horn on Saturday? A lot of people do. Some people don't. Horn definitely doesn't think he did. But we're going to get your opinions on that today. So I think I got Mark on the line. You there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. What's good?
Dope, man.
Shout out to everyone over there.
Yes, sir. How's it going out there in Fort Worth, I guess? That's where you're from.
No, I guess Fort Worth, Dallas area. It's hot, but not like out there in Vegas. So
all the Fort Worth people claim Dallas. It sounds better.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's
sounds
just like
better to say
if you
Fort Worth.
from Chicago and you claiming the suburbs, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Man, so how's it going out there?
It's good. We're good. Just kind of getting in, just keeping my eye on Twitter and Facebook, and just the NBA free agency is just crazy, man. That's what seems like it's on everyone.
Yeah.
People, so I'm trying to be a man of the people, you know what I mean? So just talking to them and just kind of wrapping my head on some of these moves and some of this money that's being spent, this monopoly money that for some of these bum players that are getting paid. It's crazy.
And you say bum players, which some people might think that. I think a lot of people might also think that, like if the NBA is making that much, somebody has to get paid. So might as well, dish that money out. But we have seen a whole lot of people getting a lot of money, man. And we're going to get into that. We have a lot of stuff happen with Paul George. Everybody thought he was going to the Celtics or the Cavaliers, right? He ends up getting traded to Oklahoma City. And that was my favorite trade. When I saw that pop up, I was extremely happy. Because, first of all, Lakers didn't trade for him and give up way too much. And with him going to OKC, I think that cements him to leave and go to the Lakers a year from now. I don't think he's staying in Oklahoma City for a whole year. He already told everybody, his agent told every team that was trying to trade for him, it's a one-year rental. He's not staying with you guys. And so with that being said, seeing him get traded to OKC, I was ecstatic because I'm like, cool. If you would have went to Cleveland with LeBron and they got close to a championship or won a championship, I'm not sure if he would have left. If he went to Boston, same thing. Like, they have a good team. He might not have left. So him going to Oklahoma City, first of all, it's going to be very entertaining. It made the West that much better. The East is really suffering right now. Jimmy Butler, Paul George both left the Eastern Conference. If the rumors are true that LeBron James is going to be headed west. He wants to play in L.A. next year, whether it be the Clippers or the Lakers. If that's the case, the Eastern Conference might as well just shut down. That's how I feel.
No doubt.
What do you guys think?
No doubt.
What do you guys think about these trades? And then Chris Paul staying in the West, being traded, but it was more of a free agent signing. Like, I'm going to sign with them, so trade me so you guys can get something for it. A lot of big stuff, a lot of player movement. I'm not sure if we've seen that much in free agency that quick in a minute. So what do you guys think about that? And the balance of power, the West has had so much power already. It's crazy.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think when you look at the situation, I mean, let's first talk about the star power going to the Western Conference is just absolutely crazy. I mean, you got Paul Millsap even. I mean, that's one of the cats that you left out. Just got some big money. I mean, the Eastern Conference is pretty much the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Boston Celtics, and then that's it. You got of course you got DeRozan and Lowry in Toronto, but I mean, here's the big thing that kind of a sidebar that not a lot of people are talking about. It's the fact that a lot of these cats got in their contract where they get like super max, like Jimmy Butler. If they make all-star teams, you know how hard it's going to be to make a second team or third all-star team. Third team to get that extra super contract right now. Like it's crazy. Because it's so top heavy. I mean, you got cats like Damian Lillard who came and sniff a first or second round. I mean, first team or second team all-star. And that's going to impact him significantly going forward. But for as far as the Paul George trade, if you're a Laker fan, you have to be ecstatic because you didn't give up anything, and as you said, he laid it out perfectly. And even worst case scenario, even if Paul doesn't move go to the Lakers, which would be a shock. You got a lot of speculation with LeBron, and for the fact of the matter, he's not being. Cleveland's just a mess all over again. I mean, this looks like 2010 all over again because you don't have a GM. LeBron is not making any calls. I mean, the only people that he really wanted, to bring on to the Cavs were either Jimmy or Paul George.
Yeah. And
it got so bad that there's a lot of reports that they were saying to Jimmy Butler, don't try to come to Cleveland because this is going to be, no one knows what's going to look like in a year, and most likely everyone's going to be somewhere else.
And here's why I think
LeBron will be free agent, Kyrie puts a trade.
Here's why I think that rumor's true, because right when that report came out, and then they were saying like, oh, that didn't really happen. But right when that report came out, the Jimmy Butler to Cleveland stopped right after that. And he was like, yeah, I want to stay in Chicago. And then he gets traded the next day to Minnesota Timberwolves. So I believe 100% those rumors were true.
I agree.
And we can go back to Cleveland and see, like you said, they don't have a GM. The guy that was going to be their GM, that everybody thought was going to be their GM, was Chauncey Billups. He pulled his name out today saying, I'm not in the running anymore. I don't want to be in the running for GM of the Cavaliers. Now, and LeBron has stayed silent on free agent signings, which the past few years in Cleveland, he's been very vocal on trying to get people there, trying to help work Tristan Thompson type people, getting him that contract a couple years ago. With them pulling out, like all this stuff going on, LeBron James, if you look back to see the past couple years when he left Cleveland for the first time and then left Miami, there was major hints. I'm not sure if we really noticed the hints at first, but then when you look back, you're like, wait, he was telling, like the first time he left Cleveland, he told us at the beginning of the year, he's wearing number 6 next year, right? Because Michael Jordan is number 23, and his number should be retired throughout the NBA. And no one really talks about this. So everyone knew you're either going to Chicago or Miami, who also retired Jordan's number 23. He went back to Cleveland 4 or 5 years later, and what number is he wearing 23 again? So that whole idea about why he was wearing 23 was a lie. He was wearing 23 because he was letting us know he's not going to be in Cleveland the next season. So right now, with him doing all this, with him staying silent in free agency, hearing the rumor with Jimmy Butler, I guarantee Chauncey Billups hit up LeBron and said, "Hey, is it worth me taking this job right now? Because if you all leave, I'm getting fired anyways."
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is when LeBron gets quiet, when anybody gets quiet, somebody with that much vocal authority, like, I mean, let's face it, Tyronn Lue is the coach because of LeBron James. I mean, when you have the power to make one coach basically lose his job, and you bring in the guy that you like, qualified or not, I mean, that you have power. And when you get quiet, something is up. I don't know if he's just giving up on Cleveland, if he's just saying, look, something up in the management here in the front office. Maybe because it's Cleveland, the city itself is just, it ain't Miami, it ain't LA, it's Cleveland. You know what I mean? It could be 100 different things, but silence is definitely a sign that, you know what, and then you got, Chauncey Billups backing out. It's definitely some signs here that, the people in Cleveland in that front office should be worried, because they're about to be a dead franchise again. When LeBron James leaves, nobody's going to care about the Cavaliers for the next however many years until he comes back and retires his jersey there, because that's about all that's going to happen.
And I really do. I mean, I think he's 100% leaving. Like all the things you said, all the things that we talked about, I think he's gone for sure. I'm not sure where he's going. I don't know what that's going to look like. But he doesn't like the owner. Dan Gilbert's not his favorite person in the world. The fact that they fired a GM that he liked, I don't think that went over well. I think they're going to work. I think they're going to play hard. I don't think he's going to give up this season. He wants to win another ring. So, but it'll be different if he leaves Cleveland. Like, he won a ring for them. You know what I'm saying? If he leaves, I don't think the fans are going to trip out like they did last time. He's a businessman. He wants to end his career probably in a better city like L.A. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Cleveland's not L.A. or Miami. And for his future endeavors, I mean, he's acted a little bit like he's a businessman. So L.A. is a great place for him to go. If that happens or not, we'll see. But what do you think about that, Mark?
No, I agree. I think that everything you guys laid out is fact. And the one key thing that I think you just brought up at the end is the fact that LeBron has stated he wants to be a mogul. Yeah. Like, he wants to be, the NBA version of Jay-Z, for lack of a better term. Like, he wants to be he wants to be in that view, in that ilk. So I think the best way for him to really do that would be to go to LA, learn from, he has a great admiration for Magic. So I just think too many things make sense. I think he pointed out really good about how if we were peeping the clues first time, with the whole, going to Chicago and a lot of people don't realize how close that really was to come into happening, because they all, the Banana Boat Boys wanted to go to Chicago at first, but, when it comes down to Chicago's management or Pat Riley, who you going to trust? They made the right decision. So I just think, I think it's just going to be real interesting these next few years. And I think you're going to see, a lot of these cats in the West are going to eventually have to come over to the East just so they can get a chance to get really paid. Because like I said, if you think about the first, second, and third team, all-star team or whatever, or the all-NBA team, and if you don't make one of those three, you don't get that super max. Some of these cats are not going to be happy about that, because if you're not winning the ring, because let's be honest, the path to the championship still goes through Golden State, and probably you're looking at, you're probably looking at, depending on what kind of moves LA, if the Lakers do get LeBron and you get Paul George, and with their young core, they're going to be a viable option too. So some of these guys are going to have to move over to the East just to have a shot. So it's going to be really interesting. This is the most movement we've seen since probably LeBron left Cleveland the first time. And we just got to keep, and as we said before, whenever LeBron James, who, not only has been coach, but he's been de facto GM. Like when he moved to Cleveland, he called the shot. I think personally he might have been better keeping Andrew Wiggins there instead of making that trade for Kevin Love. But he called the shot. He said, "Well, I need this," and they did everything for him. So for him to be quiet, it says, silence speaks so much in the NBA. Yeah. And those are some great points that we all have brought up today regarding that. So.
Yeah, and I think the fact, like, he doesn't really care about the future of the franchise. He cares about the franchise when he's there. So I think it would have been smarter to keep Wiggins as far as the Cavs are concerned, because he could have still helped out. I think he could have, done as good as Kevin Love did or better. But I think at the time, like, Kevin Love was an all-star. It's something they needed for that time to win now. But I think, if Cleveland would have been able to keep Wiggins, they could have still won a championship. And they would have had a piece for when LeBron bounced. And maybe Kyrie would want to stay with Wiggins. Maybe they could, be the future. But now, the rumors are Kyrie wants to leave if LeBron's leaving. So, it's going to be a mess.
Exactly.
And we saw the movement that happened that's happened this past weekend in the NBA free agency. I think next year is going to be one of the craziest years. Russell Westbrook could be a free agent. You have DeMarcus Cousins, Paul George, LeBron James. That's four, like, really big guys, that can all move. Like, we might see all of them moving.
Yep, and don't forget you got Chris Paul, you got Carmelo. Like I said, I still firmly believe somehow, some way, you will see those three guys, Carmelo, LeBron, and Chris Paul, all on the same team at some point. And this will probably be, it's too orchestrated. And this the one thing that people complain about the NBA, which I don't really think is a complaint. It's just, I think you probably would have saw this movement back in the day if the players had this type of power. But I think that you're going to see these guys, they've been very well documented that they're close on and off the court, and they always go vacation, but they really want to play together before their career is over. So I think it's going to be very, like you said, this year and really next summer it's going to be crazy. And I think we should really, because the swinging, the pendulum swinging of power can happen in the blink of an eye with just a couple people signing. And now you got a real threat to the Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And I feel like with the Clippers, I think they were smart not offering Chris Paul that fifth year. And I think he would have stayed with the Clippers if it wasn't for them not offering that fifth year. And that's why he said, can we do a sign and trade? I'll just sign for one more year instead of going out in free agency and, risking more money after next year and try to get that Supermax with Houston, I guess. I think it's going to be hard. Like you're saying, they all want to play together. I think that's going to be difficult to pull off, because how are you going to get all of them on the same team at the same time? Like, it's going to be hard because, all of the –
Well, it's going to be hard, but you got to look at it, too. Like, these cats, a lot of cats are going to be free agents. There's still some money left over from the league. I think there's a little bit of a bump coming next year in the salary cap.
Yeah.
And, you got to look at the fact that, Carmelo and LeBron and even CP, even Chris Paul, they've made their money. Now it's really about chasing a ring. So,
but
you
Chris
got to think
Paul,
about, particularly Carmelo.
Yeah, but with Chris Paul, he's
go ahead.
He's trying to get his money. He's trying to get this big contract before he bounces. And that's why Clippers didn't want to, give him 5 years. He's 32. They were going to pay him until he's 37, making that much money, which kind of, to me, doesn't make sense, because instead you chose Blake Griffin, who's younger but is a lot more injury prone, getting almost the same deal, a few million less than Chris Paul would have gotten, but pretty much got almost the same deal. And I think for Blake Griffin, that's smart for him, because he's like, I'm not going to last 5 years. Might as well get all this money. For the Clippers, they had to keep somebody there for them to have a fan base. But I still think Clippers are done for a long time.
Yeah.
Unless somehow they pull off
absolutely. They're
LeBron
done.
James.
I mean,
if LeBron James chooses to go to the Clippers, which reports were he said he'll never play for the Clippers, and then 2 days later Chris Paul bounced. So, the only reason people thought he might go to LA next year is because of Chris Paul being there, and maybe that would have started the Banana Boat team. But with Chris Paul bouncing now, with them keeping Blake Griffin, I don't think that's somebody LeBron would want to play with the injured Blake Griffin. I think Clippers are done for a long time, which I'm happy about because Clipper fans have been absolutely ridiculous the past 5 years.
Yeah, I think the Clippers are done. It's over for the Clippers. I mean, especially with Chris Paul leaving. But, going back to Chris Paul, I think he wants his money. But, at the age of 32, what kind of contract are you going to sign? And when you want to be realistic about it, a lot of these owners, the players want money. The owners want rings. They want to sell jerseys. Chris Paul has a fan base, but he ain't made it past the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sucks because I like Chris Paul. You know what I mean? I think he's a great player. But unfortunately, the last couple of years, injuries and everything else just kind of cost them. Maybe it's bad coaching. Maybe it's, just bad luck. Maybe it's the Clippers curse.
They had that throat injury a couple years ago.
I mean,
where they got choked.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, you give up a 3-1. I mean, it sucks. It sucks, for Chris Paul to be in this situation. But I'm thinking at this point, he has to make a decision of I want money or I want a ring. He can't have both.
Yeah.
So either he's going to have to take a big pay cut and say, I'm going to play with the guys who already made their money, Melo, LeBron, maybe, I don't know, maybe James Harden, maybe they all go to Houston. I don't know. But, I mean, I think that's his only shot at getting a ring at this point in his career. He ain't getting no younger. 32, in the real world ain't old, but in NBA, that's in real life, that's like 50. You know what I mean? Like,
and they're still talking about with Houston, maybe Carmelo Anthony. He said he'll waive his no trade clause to go to either Houston or Cleveland. So I think that's something you might see before the season starts. We might see Carmelo end up in Houston with James Harden and Chris Paul, and that just shakes up the West even more, and that hurts the East even more, even though the Knicks are horrible anyways. But just as far as star power is concerned, if Carmelo went to the West and was playing in Houston, I mean, that'd be interesting, him playing with two guys that could really pass the rock. I'm not sure if he's ever played with – he played with Chauncey Billups. I think that's his only, real true point guard. He played with Jason Kidd at the end of Kidd's career.
Yeah.
But I think – I don't know, man. I'd be interested in seeing that. I think somebody might have a chance. A team like that would have a chance to knock off Golden State and surprise them and beat the Warriors.
Didn't he play with D'Antoni before? That didn't work out too good in New York?
Yeah, and that's what they're talking about too. Like, him and D'Antoni didn't get along at all. So, but D'Antoni's team also didn't have a point guard until Linsanity popped up, but he wasn't like a true playmaking point guard.
Yeah, I think Melo.
He was for 15 games.
Yeah,
he had a good run. He had a good 2 weeks. I think Melo going to the Rockets definitely could be possible. I see, so much offense, but the downside of Melo is no defense. I mean, and to beat any of these teams, when you get to, second round of the playoffs, championship game, in the playoffs, you got to play defense. And, I mean, Melo, you talking about he'll put up 60 points and literally have 0 assists, 0 rebounds, 0 blocks, 0. I mean, nothing.
Yep.
But he going to put the ball in the basket. You know what I mean? So, them against Golden State, I mean, I still see the score being like 120 to 130 Golden State wins. You know what I mean? It's just, you got to have somebody else who LeBron could be that guy playing defense, shutting somebody down, At the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, right now, you got to be good in the East, you got to beat Cleveland. To be good in the West, you got to beat Golden State. And are these teams doing enough in the next 1, 2, 3 years to compete with Golden State? Because if not, it ain't even worth talking about. I mean, it's just, are they getting their money or are they trying to beat these two teams? I mean, because you beat those teams, you got a shot at the ring. And, right now, as if you beat Golden State, you're probably going to be the favorite to get a ring. So
definitely.
Yeah, I think that Golden State is still looking to make some moves too. So it's not like they just sitting on their rings.
Well, here's the thing: Golden State doesn't have a lot of room to make moves, and
yeah,
they're showing their luxury tax numbers for the next 3 to 4 years. And every year they're paying more and more into the luxury tax. So they're talking about Klay Thompson in a couple years. They might not even be able to sign him because they're going to be so far in the hole. So that's what Golden State's going to face right now with all the money they're paying out. I mean, Steph Curry, congrats to him, just got the biggest contract ever in the NBA.
$200 million.
Yeah, and Kevin Durant just signed an extension today, 2 years. I'm pretty sure there's probably a player option again for next year. But you have Draymond Green. You have a lot of people. They just signed Iguodala to, a pretty heavy contract. So, they got him for the next 3 or 4 years back. They definitely didn't want to lose him, but at the same time, I think they paid a lot for somebody that's kind of probably on the downward end of his career.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we look at Golden State right now. Yeah, they're the best team, but something could happen this next season, and that could all turn around.
That team to me is just so fragile. It's like you look at the pieces and yeah, you think like, oh, they got like 4 or 5 all-stars on that team, but when you start talking about contracts and money, at this point everybody has a ring.
Yeah,
they want their money, and it just ain't enough money for everybody to get what they're probably feeling they're worth. You know what I'm saying? I can definitely see Klay Thompson leaving. He just don't even look happy. He just look like they don't pass me the ball no more. Like they I'm at the it was like the Splash Brothers. You know what I mean? I feel like he's the guy like in the gangster movie where like, he helped build this thing and now everybody's like voting him off the island or something. You know what I mean? Like I can see.
Or it's like when you're growing up at home and you got a brother you always hang out with and that brother gets a best friend.
Right.
Kevin Durant, and now you're not kicking it as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, he's just like, it's like, oh, if Kevin Durant ain't doing nothing, I guess we can go hang out. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Right? And that sucks. You know what I mean? So I definitely could see, we'll see this season, but I mean, I could definitely see Klay Thompson putting on a jersey and playing maybe for the Lakers. You know what I mean? Maybe for Houston. Who knows? I mean, Klay Thompson's a great player, man. Like all the players on that team.
And he's still signed for 2 more years. So I mean, he's still going to be there, so they could win 2 more rings with him.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, how could anybody leave? But I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's going to pay him that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if he goes anywhere, you're talking about, I mean, with my eyes closed, he's top 5, at his position in the league. Maybe top 2, top 3. I can't think of too many players I want to argue about that may be better than him at that position. So I can't see too many teams saying, look, we'll trade a couple players. We'll definitely, pay as much as we can to get this guy. He's a game changer. I think Klay Thompson alone, man, he'll take you to the playoffs, He's gonna need some help. Anybody needs help to win it, but Klay Thompson's great, man, and he went from like number 2 behind Steph Curry. Now I feel like he's number 3, maybe 4 on that team.
Yeah.
And who knows, man? They'll mess around, and before you know it, Klay Thompson's coming off the bench as like the 7th man or something. But who knows, man? I mean, if it's all about rings, players will stick around forever. But once that's kind of the anomaly with this team now is. Most players play for their whole career trying to get a ring.
Yeah.
This team is fairly young, and they've got 2 rings now.
Yep.
And what else is there for them to accomplish other than just build a dynasty?
Yeah.
So when you look at that, it's kind of like, well, what else do these guys want? They technically have it all. As a kid, you want to be the champ. You want your money, you want to be the champ. Well, Steph Curry, he just got his money. He can move out of Oakland.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's really interesting to see what'll happen in the next couple of years with Golden State.
And it's crazy to see like how teams are building their team to combat that. I
mean,
you have people like James Harden accepting Chris Paul, and then you have Carmelo saying like, you know what? I wouldn't mind joining that team now. Right. He wasn't saying that when just James Harden was there.
Right.
But now the fact you got Harden and Chris Paul, then it's like, okay, cool, we could do some damage in the West.
Oh yeah.
And if they mesh right away, who knows? I mean, that could be something. You catch the Warriors on an off night or an off series.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about Golden State. They've went 3 years in the playoffs with going through the Western Conference and not playing a team that's been fully healthy.
Yeah, that's always, if you could ever put an asterisk by anything the Golden State has done, that's got to be it. They've been so
I want to see
fortunate.
them play 3 healthy teams going
Yeah.
into the finals and see how they do against like
They play
the best players, because last year we saw, the Spurs were up 23 or something, 26
and
when
then
Kawhi
down.
Leonard
Yep.
went down. So
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about a game one against. I mean, to me, you want to talk about pure basketball. The Spurs. I mean, I don't have a team in basketball. I follow more players.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick a team, it's the Spurs. With the exception of like Kawhi Leonard, all these guys are old, and I mean like 37. You know what I mean? Like we've been saying that the Spurs should retire for the last 10 years. We've been calling them too old forever.
But
and
Spurs draft really good, and they have a lot of young players actually that are
a lot of young players
that are coming up. But I mean, nobody thought Kawhi Leonard was going to be one of the top 5 NBA players in the league right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought Chris Paul would go there. I still think that would have been a better look for him to go to San Antonio and play with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, and the system that Popovich, he's got in place. I mean, it's just he's to me the best coach in the league right now. And I mean, if that's the thing, if there's ever a coach who can coach a team to beat Golden State, it's got to be Pop.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he's got the tools. He knows how to use each player. Everybody knows how to step up. I mean, you got Manu Ginobili. He's 37, 38 years old. I mean, he just came alive in one series, and I mean, he's dunking on people with his right hand.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, man, is he knows when to rest players. He knows when to play them. He's got it all, man. And yeah, when that's the thing that sucks about basketball is you get deep into the finals, which has sucked for the Clippers every year. Key player gets hurt. Blake Griffin gets hurt. Chris
Which
Paul
they
hurts his
don't
hand,
go deep into the finals at all. They
right?
haven't
Yeah.
got past
I
second
feel
round.
like even if they were healthy, they lose. They
Yeah.
maybe play a couple extra games, but they still lose. But Golden State, even the year that they beat Cleveland 2 years ago, half of Cleveland was hurt.
Kevin
Love was out. His shoulder was broke.
Kyrie went out the first game.
And they won it in 6. Then you have a healthy Cleveland team that beat I'll say that I'll give them one injury. The other one was Draymond Green technical fouled out. That's his fault. That's team fault. That's player fault. So Cleveland wins there, and then this year, they have the super team. They pick up Kevin Durant. They got 4 All-Stars starting in the game. I mean, you basically got 3 guys starting that all shoot like Reggie Miller. You know what I mean? Like playing in the game, and then all the All-Stars on the other team that you're playing against, they all get hurt. I mean, it's tough to have that argument with a Golden State player or a Golden State fan because it's not their fault.
Yeah.
The opponent gets hurt. But as a fan of basketball, you want to see the healthy team fight the healthy team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like that, it's like who would win a fight, like Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. And it's like, you'll never know. But if they fight, I don't want old Muhammad Ali to fight Mike Tyson. You know what I mean? I want these 2 guys in their prime to go at it. And you got 2 healthy teams, the Spurs and Golden State. And then Kawhi goes out on, I'll say, a shady move, from Petula. But, it's bad. It is what it is. And, Golden State's champs again. So
Kevin Durant's contract is 2 years, $53 million. Mark, would you like to make $53 million over 2 years?
I would like to make $53 million, period.
Ever.
That's ever in life. At some point,
I'm like, just
you
give me
can
$3
add
million.
up
I can make
everything.
$3 million last.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a
you
great
can keep
deal
50.
for.
You won't even know that $3 million's gone.
Oh yeah. I mean, but it's a good deal for Kevin. I mean, that's a great deal. That gives him a way to kind of keep his option open. You know what I mean? Like he get a couple more rings, and then he might do what a lot of people thought he was going to do in the first place, which was go back to Washington. So I mean, he did. Like I said, he took. I mean, when you look at 2 years at $54 million, and you look at the fact that, like Kyle Lowry got 3 for $100. Like,
yeah,
you can see, Kevin took a little bit to try to bring back everyone back, and he's really about trying to really cement his legacy right now, and good for him. But like I said, it's that we all knew this was going to happen. It was nothing new. But it's a smart deal for the Warriors. He could have really put them in a bind, but he lived up to his word. Say, hey, I'll take less to make sure I can bring everyone back.
And it says they'll save $20 million in luxury taxes this season just by him taking less. $20 million. So I mean that's pretty
crazy.
That's pretty good of him to even do that, and that shows that you can say it's not all about the money, but when you're making 53, I mean, it's definitely not all about the money because he could have got more. But when you're making that much money, it's like, how much money can you spend? And some people can though. I want to turn over to some of the other free agents that might not be the really big names. We still have Gordon Hayward. We don't know where he's going yet. He met with Miami. He met with Boston. And he's meeting with Utah today if he hasn't met with them already. Where do you think Hayward's going to go? Mark, go first.
I think, honestly, if you would have asked me this about 2 days ago, I would have said he's going to Boston. But after listening to some of the reports, how his wife likes Miami, I won't say I really think he's going to end up in Miami because anyone knows the whole adage, happy wife, happy life. And she likes Miami, and from all accounts, you get from the Godfather, you get from Pat Riley, and they put on a great presentation for him with analytical stats behind it, how they can make him a better player, how they can, really not even just take him to the next level. And you got to look at the fact that the East is the West is packed, as we talked about earlier. So you look at going to the East, I think this will make I really think Miami is probably slightly ahead of everyone else, even though he's got Boston's got the fact that he's with the coach and it's already a ready-made team. They still got some other moves. You never want to count out Pat Riley.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you put that fact and for the fact that his wife really wants to be in Miami, I would probably bet right at this moment Miami will probably be the favorite.
Yeah. I'm still going to say Boston, even though my gut feeling is telling me he's going to stay in Utah for some reason. I really think he might stay in Utah, but I'm going to say Boston just because of the fact, like you said, like there's so much power in the East, in the West right now. He'll be one of the best players in the East if he goes over there. He'll definitely be like one of the top 5 players in the East, I think, if he makes his way to Boston or Miami. But with Boston, he has his college coach, who's the only one that recruited him to go to Butler and helped him get where he's at right now. So I think that has a lot of weight. So I really think he's going to end up in Boston. If he doesn't end up in Boston, they lost out on Hayward, Jimmy Butler, Paul George, and they just have all these random draft picks. And I still don't think Danny Ainge really did good in the draft. He should have kept the first pick. But, I mean, that makes Boston look a certain way. Like, you didn't get any of these deals done,
Yeah. Boston ain't looking good right now. And it's Boston. You wonder why, LeBron and Chris Bosh and D Wade all decided to go to Miami. Because it's Miami. I mean, right now in Vegas, it's 100 degrees outside. I mean, we don't have to worry about rain or earthquakes or tornadoes, but you will literally just melt in the car. I mean, Miami is 80 degrees all year long. Yeah, it rains, but only for like 30 minutes every day. The beach is there, South Beach. I mean, who doesn't like Cuban, Puerto Rican food or people? I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? I mean, it's
Cuban women.
Right. You know what I mean? Like you got the beach. I mean, and you talking about, the water is like 80 degrees. I mean, it's just perfect, man. Like who doesn't want to live there? You know, you talk about his wife wanting them to go to Miami. Of course she does. There's shopping everywhere. I mean,
But if he's wearing the pants, he's going where he wants to go.
Right, of course. You know what I mean? But I mean, and with that, it's kind of like, Miami or Boston, when you talk about the life, Miami is hands down. But then you talk about who's going to get you to a championship. Probably the better pick would be Boston.
Yeah.
Utah, it's like you see them. It's like all of they sucked for the
and
past
the West
so many
just
years.
got better. You know what I'm saying? The West got a lot better.
It's like they got better last year. They showed up in the playoffs, and it was like, okay,
Yeah.
they got a squad, and you lose to Golden State every game by 20 points, but so did everybody else. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's just that's just gonna happen. So. What are the chances? How much better did your team get? Probably not too much. Not as better as these other teams.
Well,
are getting,
and that's the whole thing. That's why I think, that's why I'm thinking he will go to Boston, because the Jazz didn't get any better. I mean, they're losing George Hill. They're gaining Ricky Rubio. I don't know if that's an upgrade or not. I think George Hill does a lot more on both ends of the ball. Ricky Rubio is definitely a great passer and playmaker. But they definitely didn't get better, and the West got a lot better. Minnesota got better. Denver got better. Houston got better. Oklahoma City got better.
Yeah.
Everyone got better. So if he goes to Boston, they're in the mix. They could upset Cleveland.
Yeah.
If they have a healthy Isaiah Thomas, have Hayward, if their draft pick pans out, or if they end up trading him for someone else, they could be in the finals against Golden State.
I really think, I think one thing that was downplayed a lot even this year was the death of Isaiah Thomas' sister, This man, he lost his sister, and he still had to show up to work and win games.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah, you could say like, oh, well, that was a couple weeks before they played Cleveland, but I mean, that ain't something you just get over with, in a week. You know what I mean?
Deal with that for a long time.
I mean, he could be dealing with this for years, but for the most part, I mean, it was immediate, and then they're playing in a championship game. They only win one game. I'm not saying they beat Cleveland if that doesn't happen, but maybe they win 2 games. Maybe they take it 7 games. I don't know. I know that my pick before the playoffs started was, if not Cleveland, it's going to be Boston. As of right now, that pretty much hasn't changed. Nothing in the East is really looking. Nothing. So far, nothing has gotten better anywhere.
Everyone in the East got worse.
Yeah, nothing in the East has gotten better. So if
Philly got better because they signed J.J. Redick, they got Markelle Fultz in the first round. Ben Simmons should actually play instead of sitting out a whole year.
Okay.
Embiid, hopefully he gets more minutes, but at the same time, that's still not a playoff team. It might be like the end of the playoffs, but it's still not a team that's making an impact as far as like doing damage.
Yeah, I mean, if he goes, I think going to as far as getting the ring, going to Boston is going to get him the closest. The only 2 teams he has to beat is Washington and Cleveland, and
I mean Toronto's right there too, though.
Yeah, Toronto's there.
But that's it. I mean, you got 4 teams in the East.
Yeah,
and I mean, we can kind of throw Milwaukee in there. We'll see what they do. They might improve a lot this year. But I mean, we'll see where he goes. Paul Millsap signed to Denver, so that that's someone else that Mark you had talked about. Another one of those big name players going from the East to the West.
Yep.
And he said Atlanta didn't even offer him a contract. Does that surprise you?
No, because Atlanta is a bad franchise. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They gave. I mean, not that I was high on, Dwight Howard, but they gave Dwight Howard away for a Plumlee. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you and I have a mutual friend, a good buddy of ours, and Jason Goff out back in Chicago. And Jason, when he was in Atlanta, constantly talked about Atlanta as the fact that Atlanta doesn't try to sell the fact that they're trying to be an up-and-coming team. They try to sell the fact that they've made the playoffs for so long, for so many years consecutive. They don't get nowhere, but they try to sell the fact that they've been to the playoffs. And that organization has been in turmoil for the last 5 years, whether it be a GM making racial comments or the fact that they really don't have a direction. So I really look at, I mean, I'm not shocked that they didn't offer him anything. I just think that they're finally trying to really bottom out, because even if you bring Paul Millsap back to Atlanta, you'll probably be a 7 seed, maybe an 8 seed, and get bounced off the first round. So maybe they're finally doing what a lot of teams, even like the Chicago Bulls, are saying, hey, we're going to pick a lane. We're gonna do what Philadelphia has been doing, tank for 4 or 5 years, get some assets. And hopefully by the time then, the pendulum will swung back to where we can make a move and be more competitive to get a championship, because right now, we're just, we're kind of stuck in the worst place, which is not the bottom and definitely not the top. It's in the middle.
Yeah.
And we, and like I said, Atlanta too, they just don't have the leadership up top. And I don't care what organization. You can really even look at the pedigree with like Golden State. They have a vision. They know how they're going to do it, and they go toward it. Atlanta's never had that.
Yeah. Never. And let's go back to Chicago for a minute. They're definitely in rebuild mode. I think they could have got more for that Jimmy Butler trade. I don't think they had to give up their draft pick. And now Dwayne Wade, of course, he didn't want to opt out. He gets like $23 million this year by opting in. I doubt he wants to play in Chicago this year. I mean, he's going to be a veteran on a tanking team. I wouldn't be surprised seeing him do a buyout, and maybe he ends up in Cleveland.
I think the biggest thing for that is it's going to be a staring contest for a few months into the season, because the Bulls are on record. I mean, John Paxson went on record and said, even during the press conference when they were introducing Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn and Lauri Markkanen from Arizona, saying that for them to even buy out Dwayne, it has to be advantageous for the Bulls. They're not going to give him, 90 cents on the dollar, 95 cents on the dollar. They want to be like 60 or 50. You know what I mean? And I've heard from people, and from people that are in Chicago that are, the reporters that are reporting, because they all have their reporters that carry their water. And from what I'm told, or what I've heard, is that, unless don't even come to Dwayne Wade unless you're talking about paying him at least 20 of that $24 million, which the Bulls aren't going to do. I fully expect Dwayne to be there until probably right before that March 1st area where you can start buying out people that can sign and be on the playoff roster.
Yeah.
That's probably when you'll see maybe a buyout at that point in time, because they've already paid him the most money. But You're right, Dwayne don't want to be there. He made it clear through back channels. Him and Jimmy are still tight. Jimmy kind of made a comment about, Dwayne doesn't want to probably be there. But he ain't stupid. $24 million is a lot of money to walk away from. And like the Bulls are not historically haven't cut checks like that. And I don't think they're going to start right now with Dwayne. So
exactly. A lot of NBA. I mean, make sure you check it out online. There's so many players have moved already. We can't talk about all of them, obviously. We don't have enough time. We got to start closing it up soon anyways. But the NBA Summer League is going to be out here. If you're in Las Vegas, hit us up, man. We're going to be going out there. It's a little over a week long, so there's a lot of games. Have you ever been, Steve?
No, I haven't been.
Man, they got like 5 or 6 games in one day. You just walk through and you go back and forth. So it's really fun, man. And the Laker games out here are ridiculous. They sell out in the Summer League. I mean, it's ridiculous. So we're going on the 7th. And that's actually right, the next day after I'm going to see Spider-Man. So I'm excited about that.
Okay.
Comes out this Thursday. Are you excited about that? What about Spider-Man?
I gotta go
take it off
Spider-Man.
sports for a second.
Yeah. These comics, man. Like, as kids, you grow up watching them, and it's probably even the ones that suck. Growing up now, seeing big budget box office movies of the books that I read when I was a kid is just amazing to me, man. Like, I mean, you talk about just the whole Marvel universe they created. Even DC Comics now, creating a universe in a similar fashion. And it's amazing to me, man. I go see all of them. Like, I don't care what the reviews say. I'm gonna go see them.
I've learned not to even look at the reviews.
Yeah, I mean, it's right. You know,
It's like, don't even look at the reviews.
Yeah, but yeah,
Mark, are you excited about this Spider-Man?
Oh, absolutely. I think the kid that was playing Spider-Man, people forget that, yeah, it's a Spider-Man, but Spider-Man, if you follow the comics and everything, he was really a kid in high school.
Yeah.
And this kid is, looks like he should be in high school. Tobey Maguire looked like the oldest
I've ever seen in my life. They trying to make him a high schooler. Like, bro, you're
right,
31 in high school.
Right. And so I think this kid is it's a really good. They did a really good job with this kid, and bringing him into the universe, not retelling everyone knows Peter's story that Uncle Ben, died and whatnot, so they don't have to retell that story again. But they can kind of just pick up when you already know the backstory.
And if you don't, you could just watch one of the other 20 Spider-Man movies.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Google it.
But the one movie that I will say, and I heard Steve talk about it, talk about bringing movies back from our childhood. The one thing that I'm disappointed in, I was disappointed in the last Transformers movie, man. I was so disappointed. I'm so glad that Michael Bay is done with that movie because it's gotten progressively worse as it's gone on, and I was so disappointed with this last one, and my kids kind of liked it, but it was too confusing for them, and if it's too confusing for kids, you lost it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've been off Transformers.
Transformers movies garbage.
Yeah, I've been off those for a long time, so that wasn't even a surprise. I didn't even dare to go try to see that one, but yeah, I've been off that for a minute.
At some point, movies got to die. I mean, I think the trilogy.
You can only do so much.
The trilogy is like the best format. I mean, like after the third movie, it's kind of like if you ain't told the whole story yet, like wrap it up. You know what I mean? If Lord of the Rings could be told in 3 super long movies, then no other movie ever needs to be more than 3 movies. Yeah. Transformers 4,
unless you're Star Wars,
5.
Keep going.
Right, yeah, you know what I mean? Star Trek, it's just it's just a bunch of different stories to tell, but at some point it's kind of like, okay, let's wrap this thing up. We just beating a dead horse here, and yeah, the Transformers horse died, unfortunately, a little while ago.
It's been gone.
Yeah.
But I want to jump back into sports. We saw this fight, Manny Pacquiao against Horn. I can't even remember his first name. Joe? Is it Joe Horn?
Yeah, Joe Horn.
Joe Horn. The fight's in Australia. He's Australian. Did you watch the fight, Mark?
I watched about half of it because I honestly fell asleep because I was watching it and I'm like, oh, Pacquiao's going to win. And then I woke up in the middle of the night to see the results. I was like, wait, what? Like, did he get knocked out? And then to see the fact that Pac-Man doubled up on the dude in punches, so threw less punches and lost unanimously. I was like, you've got to be kidding me! Like I thought I was dreaming. Like I didn't think that was possible. Like that was a travesty on so many levels.
Yeah, you got robbed.
And to add to the fact that you have Stephen A. Smith doing commentary, I was like, something was wrong. Something's wrong. You got Stephen A. Smith who. He didn't do it. To me, he
barely knows
boxing
at all.
It was like first take. Exactly. And for him to be sitting there and talking about, some of the boxers that Joe, or that Mr. Horn fought, there's some actually legit boxers. And he was calling the guys bums. And you can't do first take with boxing. That don't work.
Yeah.
You have to know your stuff. Otherwise, you lose all credibility. But that was a travesty. That was, I didn't. There's no way, and especially for the fact that the one last thing that I saw was right before it looked like they were the referee might have stopped the fight or was thinking about stopping the fight, and to go from that to he loses unanimously. That was, and this is why the sport of boxing is in peril right now because it just looks like it's all about the money.
And I think it makes it look bad for the fact that it's on ESPN. So it's a free fight. Pacquiao's first free fight in 12 years, they said, on regular TV. First, they're trying to do something new to bring boxing back.
Yeah.
And the first fight that they have is something that's super controversial. I think that's a bad look. ESPN's whole coverage was kind of shaky. It's like they're good at everything, and then when it came to boxing, It looked like even the coverage was just really weird.
Everything about this was bad
Yeah.
for boxing. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, look, you got these $100 pay-per-view events here in Las Vegas at MGM Grand. Everybody's on point. I mean, these are multi-million-dollar live events that go down flawlessly. And then here it is in a sport that a lot of people believe is dying, or definitely not as big as it used to be.
And people already think it's fixed.
People
so
are
when
ready,
you see
right?
stuff like that,
All these things going on, and then it's like, you know what? We're going to bring boxing back by having a kind of past his prime fighter fight a guy in Australia. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like, it's almost like this thing was doomed to fail, and then he gets robbed. You know what I mean? Like Manny Pacquiao. I think Manny Pacquiao could get legitimately knocked out, and his fans will go, "This was fixed. It was rigged." I mean, people are already gonna throw a fit. But then you have a fight where probably reminds me of De La Hoya Trinidad, where one guy pretty much wins the whole fight up until the last 2 rounds, and then the guy who won the last 2 rounds wins the fight. And it's like, wait a minute, what did we just see? And I think that's all the boxing fans are like, wait, he just got robbed. You know what I mean? And then the people who are not fans, they only watch, the major fights or whatever.
And I think that's the thing with ESPN showing it.
Right.
You got the casual fan that maybe used to watch boxing in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Has been frustrated with it the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this happens again. You just lost people for good now.
I mean, even when you're a fan, I mean, I'm just a boxing fan. I love boxing. I love to see 2 guys fight. Not a huge Pacquiao fan, but I'm a Pacquiao. I like to see Pacquiao fight. He's he's a Hall of Fame fighter. He's going down in history books as one of the best to ever do it. And to see him get robbed is kind of like, wait a minute, like what's going on here? Like if anything,
and that's not the first time he got robbed either.
Right? Yeah. If anything, this is the guy who should be doing the robberies. You know what I mean? Like he's the guy who, well, we think Pacquiao lost, but we're going to give it to him. Like, you don't rob that guy. Like who is Joe Horn? Like, who? What fans are we trying to win in Australia? You know what I mean? Like what?
I like seeing Joe Horn
hold.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people in Australia, so.
Oh yeah, I guess
maybe they
true.
are.
Yeah, who knows?
But he's holding up the belt. His face is just all beat up, and he's still saying he thinks he won. So, I mean they said he won. So Freddie Atlas after the fight was pretty adamant about telling him, like, I'm pretty sure you lost. I think you lost. But so does that
gave him the business, didn't he?
Man.
He gave him the business.
Definitely.
That
Shout
was
out
crazy.
to Teddy Atlas for keeping it real.
Teddy Atlas. I said Freddie Atlas. That's how much I watch boxing.
Yeah, right.
But Teddy Atlas did go in on him. Is that going to change your view of boxing, or are you still going to watch?
Me, I'm watching boxing.
I think it's going to.
Go ahead, Mark.
I think I'm still going to watch it, but I'm going to. I mean, everything you said, Quan, about the fact that you had this was set up to be a comeback statement. I mean, people like I grew up. I know my dad's probably listening, but I grew up sitting down on couch like on Wednesday night fights and Friday night fights, seeing all these up and coming people fight. Like during the 80s and early 90s and stuff like that. And the way it's been the last 20 years, like you said, it's been a travesty, honestly.
Yeah.
And for this was set up to be a good show, and for it to end the way it did, like, it's going to be hard for me to, because I've gone back from a really big fight watcher to just kind of a casual fan. And as Steve said too, I think the casual fans are just going to come out for the big pay-per-views. That's it. Like, I think you might not have put the nail in the coffin yet on boxing. I'm not going to go to that extreme, but I think the casket is lowering down. You know what I mean? Like, I think this is pretty much it. And
they're still making a lot of money. They're still making a lot of money.
They're going to make money.
Yeah. And I think the whole thing, like, okay, the next fight is Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor, an exhibition. But I think you're going to get a lot more people into that than you are, obviously the Pacquiao fight, because it's like, okay, if this is set up, at least we know it's just for fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be entertained if that's what it's going to be. And, I'm more interested in watching this fight now than I was the Pacquiao fight with the results being like they were. And then you got the Canelo Triple G fight coming up after that. Hopefully, that's a good fight. It should be really dope.
That should be a really good one.
So hopefully that all works. And I hope those fights can bring more boxing fans back. But the fact that we were getting some free fights, that might hurt that aspect of it, where those free fights aren't going to be coming in again. I'm not sure. I know ESPN has a couple more lined up, and if those bomb too, it's going to be hard. And I want free fights. Like I don't pay for fights. I'll go to someone's house and chip in or whatever. But
right.
I remember back in the day, you could watch Wide World of Sports and see some really good fights. We haven't seen that in a long time. You could see Sugar Ray Leonard on TV. You didn't have to pay $100 just to watch him fight. But it's definitely changed a lot, and I want it to be a good sport. I want to like boxing again, but they make it really hard.
Yeah,
for the casual fan to want to stick to it and become more of a regular fan.
They're gonna have to do something in boxing to make it exciting, to make it enticing to watch. I can watch a fighter like Floyd Mayweather fight and be entertained because I love the science of boxing. Most people are watching Floyd Mayweather because they want to see him get knocked out. They just hate Floyd Mayweather, right? But there's exciting fighters, and then there's kind of technical fighters.
Yeah.
I like watching all of them. But if you have technical fighters on these free fights, the average fan doesn't want to see that.
Definitely.
They want to see gladiators trying to knock each other's heads off,
They want to see someone get knocked out.
Right. You know what I mean?
If he dies, he dies. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, right? That's what the casual fan wants to see. And to bring that back, I mean, I think that's why MMA is really taking off. Most fights in MMA don't go to distance. Somebody's getting choked out.
And they're shorter
tapping
anyways.
out. Right,
Yeah.
They're shorter. People have much shorter attention spans. I mean, after 10 minutes, it's kind of like, okay, when are we getting to it? You know what I mean?
And a good boxing match will go by quick, though.
Right. You know what I mean?
But you're right. If it's someone technical like Floyd, and that's why I think a lot of casual fans don't like Floyd.
Right.
He dances around too much. It's like the point in boxing is to win.
Right, and not get
and
hit.
No matter exactly.
Right.
And he's one of the few boxers that's had that many fights that's been on top like that.
Right.
That's not messed up in the head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's
yeah.
as normal as he was when he came in. He's a
Right,
little big headed because of the money, but hey, you earned it.
Yeah, I mean, that's him. That's it.
But he's not hurt. He's never had any major injuries. His head is on straight.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, to me, he's the smartest boxer that's ever been alive.
I mean, it's genius when you look at that, where you look at all these other fighters who they put on these great fights for the fans, and then 5 years after their retirement, they can't tie their shoes. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just a tough sport. That's the way it is. It's same with football players. Our favorite players laid the smackdown on these guys, and now they're on pain meds the rest of their life. You know what I mean? For putting on a show for the fans. And it's like we gotta find a way to kind of close that gap and make it still make it interesting for us. But these guys deserve to get paid. That's why everything is on pay-per-view. They want their money, but at the same time, it's like the casual fan ain't paying $50 to see a fight they think is already rigged.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, we got some work to do in boxing.
Yep.
To bring it back, to get it to where it used to be. A couple heavyweight. Anthony Joshua just beat Klitschko. So some fights, hopefully. He'll fight Deontay Wilder soon, and hopefully that's in America.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I love that guy.
I was actually on YouTube because I actually ran across him on Facebook, and so I went to YouTube to check out more of his fights and highlights. And that dude's a beast, man. Wilder's a beast.
Yeah, he is, man.
So,
he's pretty sick, man. So if they fight, hopefully that fight's in America.
And like I said, I want boxing to be good again. I want to be able to like it.
And that's part of it, I mean, especially in America.
And there's a lot of people that do.
It's boxing fans all over the world.
Especially heavyweight.
Yeah.
We haven't watched heavyweight in at least 15 years in America.
The Klitschko's have had the heavyweight
They just
belts
ran
for
it.
about the past 15 years.
Just
and
been chilling with it.
They fought in their home, Germany, and all the heavyweight fights were in Germany. So now that the belt, everything is kind of changing, just changing the guard. Those guys, they're getting older. It's probably time for them to wrap it up.
We need some good heavyweights again.
But I think we get a few good heavyweights, some American fighters. Just when they're in America, fights are in America. Fights are in Las Vegas. Biggest fights in the world are in Las Vegas. I mean, and that kind of get a little momentum going in the sport. And hopefully, I mean, it'll ring throughout all the weight classes. So, but yeah, heavyweight is the key, man. I miss the days of the 10-minute Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was
10
like
seconds.
Yeah, it was like 6 minutes of national anthem, 4 minutes of introducing the fighters, and then 90 seconds and the fight's over. Like, yeah, so
Well, I want everyone to go out there, download the Guerilla Cross app. We have a 24-hour positive hip-hop station. If you're listening, we have a sports show every Monday, usually 2 p.m. We're trying to get the schedule straight. The summer's going to be a little sporadic with all the radio shows. Once the fall hits, we're going to be on a regular schedule again. But we have Speak Life Radio every Tuesday, 7 p.m., Friday, 2 p.m. Sports show, the unnamed sports show, is Mondays at 2. And then once the fall hits, there's going to be football, basketball, college, all that stuff. We're going to be going on 2 days a week, every Thursday at 2 and Monday at 2. We'll be doing that. The Op Perspective podcast, they talk about politics, pop culture, life, everything else. Really dope show every Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here. West Coast time. All these times are West Coast time. Make sure you download the app. The app is free. Go to the App Store. Go to Google Play. Download the Guerilla Cross app. Check out GuerillaCross.com. And listen, you know what I'm saying? And let us know what you think. Rate, review the app, and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, we're going to be back next week, next Monday at 2 p.m. We'll have a lot more to talk about. Give a little Summer League recap. I'm going to be there this weekend, so I'm actually going to try to get some interviews from some of these up-and-coming players. Even if I have to TMZ them, I'm going to get an interview. So be on the lookout for that. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I want to thank you, Steve, for coming in, man, last minute.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Appreciate it, dude.
Anytime.
Yeah, hopefully, man, you be a part of what we're doing here a little more, with the sports and everything.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And Mark, man, just move out here, bro. Help us out.
Hey, man, if it was that easy, I've been done that. But I definitely appreciate the opportunity to come back on the show. Much love, and anytime you need me, I'm just a call away, bro. So
yeah, man, we'll definitely
Steve,
do
it was
this
good
more.
chopping it up with you as well.
Yeah, yes, sir. Anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah, so friend each other on Facebook. Become friends. Guerilla Cross brings people together. Guerilla Cross creates friendships right here. But, yo, make sure you check it out. Go Lakers. We're going to be there at the Summer League. Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, going to be able to see them play on Friday, 5:30 p.m. against the LA Clippers. The biggest joke of the NBA is the Clippers. All my Clipper fan friends out there, you're not true friends if you like the Clippers. That's all I got to say. But shout out to you guys anyways. And we didn't talk about it much, but Blake Griffin's contract was huge. We talked about Clippers being done a little bit. So we'll get into more of that in the next few weeks and months as the NBA season never ends. So, we have this free agency. The draft just happened the week before. We have Summer League coming up. And then pretty much, the season starts again in 2 months after that. So it's going to be fun. So we'll be talking about more about that. And we didn't get into it, but the baseball all-star game, we're going to ask everyone if you care about it or not. And honestly, the fact that we didn't even get to it shows us how much we don't care about the all-star game.
Because
So
nobody cares about
nobody cares.
baseball
It means
anymore.
nothing. What's baseball? Somebody asked me today, like, are you a baseball fan? I'm like, only in October. So check it out. We are the Unnamed Sports Show. We're going to have a name one day right here on Guerilla Cross Radio. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you share the podcast. We'll have that up. Subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. We're out.